Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through stacks of sources to bring you the core insights, the stuff that matters. Today we're diving into a fascinating world where seeing isn't just, well, seeing. It's about how you see. Our starting point is Judith Kruger. She was this incredibly successful product designer, right? 25 years in home furnishings, giftware, launched tons of products for major retailers. But her real passion, ceramics. She even started her own line. Then things took a twist. On a business trip, stopover in Kyoto, Japan, she wanders into this small gallery and sees Nihonga. It's traditional Japanese painting, but here's the hook. The artists make their own paint. They crush precious stones, soil, oyster shells. Yeah.
Oh.
And Kruger, who collected rocks as a kid, that hobby fueled her ceramics passion. She was just captivated by making paint from rocks.
You can see the connection there.
Totally. But here's the kicker. Despite all her success, even becoming a skilled Nihonga painter herself, later on knew it better than most Americans, she enrolled in art school.
Okay, why? If she already knew the craft.
Exactly. It wasn't about technique. She said she went back to school to learn to see.
Learn to see. That's quite a statement.
Isn't it? So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack what learning to see really means in top art and design schools. It's this huge transformation, way beyond just learning skills. We'll explore how they teach it, these unique methods, and why it's valuable not just for artists, but really for anyone looking to engage with the world differently. Okay, let's get into it. This idea of learning to see. It sounds almost mystical, doesn't it, for you listening? What does that actually mean in, say, art school? Is it really a different kind of learning?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fundamental personal change.
Right.
Very different from, standard academic learning. Think about it like this. You go to a calculus class, you expect to learn calculus, right? History class, you get facts, dates.
Sure. Predictable outcomes.
Exactly. But in art and design school, students often have no idea what their own minds will look like by the end. It's genuinely about changing how you think, how you perceive your whole approach to the world. It's like rewiring.
So it's not just about getting better at drawing or mastering Photoshop or something like that. That's just the surface level.
Precisely. The techniques, they're taught, of course, but they're almost secondary. The real goal is something deeper. John Hendricks, who's a top illustrator, he really emphasizes this. He says seeing and editing, making choices are way harder, way more critical than the mechanical bit, the hand part of drawing.
Most people focus on the hand part, though.
Right. But the true skill, the transformation, is developing that ability to see all the tiny decisions, the countless choices, in a really strong piece of art or design. Perception comes first.
That makes me think of that example, Ron Leaks' sculpture class, where students had to sculpt a lemon, but like 5 times bigger. What was that about? Just making a big lemon.
Yeah. Sounds odd, doesn't it? But the whole point was to force students to truly see the texture, the form of something they see every day but never really look at. So they had to draw it from all angles, use magnifying glasses to replicate the texture accurately at that larger scale. And get this, they even had to paint it with weird stuff. Shoe polish, coffee, things that force them to think about color and surface differently.
Wow. Not just yellow paint, then.
Not at all. And Leaks himself said the goal wasn't the sculpture itself. It was about cultivating such intense observation that students would, quote, never look at things the same way again.
So the process of looking was the lesson.
Exactly. That hands-on, tactile engagement with materials, really wrestling with them, that's central to building this new way of perceiving. You just don't normally study a lemon that intensely.
Okay, so if creativity isn't just about having a skill or like a brilliant idea that pops into your head fully formed, what is it, according to this way of teaching? How do they teach something so abstract?
Well, they frame creativity as a dynamic process. It's iterative. Ideas don't just arrive. They emerge through the act of making. There's a sculptor, Steve DeFrank, who puts it really well. He says you have to be open to where the work itself leads you. Allow it to start evolving and not know where it's going.
An improvisational journey.
Yeah, exactly. You take actions, you make moves, but without necessarily knowing the next step clearly. You're guiding it, but you're also responding to it.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me and probably for a lot of listeners. We often rely on planning, right? Certainty feels good. So why is embracing uncertainty, even a bit of chaos, so crucial here? It sounds uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable, especially at first, but that's precisely why it's important. Over-planning, sticking rigidly to your first idea, it almost guarantees a predictable outcome, often a kind of linear, maybe even boring outcome.
Right. You just execute the plan.
Yeah. And professionals like John Hendricks, again, they learn to stop that excessive over-editing in your head. You have to resist settling on one idea too soon. Students are actively taught to trust the process, to believe that good ideas will emerge, even if the beginning feels messy or confusing. The really powerful insight is that your first idea, probably not your best one. The magic happens in that messy middle.
Can you give a concrete example? How does a professor actually design an assignment to make this happen, to force that emergence?
Sure. Grant Schaffer, he teaches illustration. He gives students this assignment. Illustrate just one page, a middle page, from a fairy tale they invent themselves.
Okay. A middle page, not the beginning or end.
Right. And to get them started, to avoid that blank page paralysis, he has them do this exercise. List 20 random words, just totally random.
20 words. Okay.
Then pick 3 of those words and combine them somehow.
Yeah.
It forces these unexpected connections, right? Ideas have to emerge from this strange collision, not from some plot they had all figured out.
That's clever. It short-circuits the planning instinct.
Exactly. Or look at Cara Rooney's sculpture assignment, Multiples Plus Networks. She mandates 6 very specific steps with critiques built in along the way. This forces iteration. You can't just pull an all-nighter at the end. You have to go through the stages, respond to feedback, let the work evolve. It enforces a slower, discovery-based approach.
So when you see students really get this, what's the big shift? How does it change how they approach making things?
The fundamental shift is moving their focus away from the endpoint, the final product, and onto the process itself. They learn to become what some call deliberate creators. They develop a methodology, a way of working that consistently produces strong results, even if, and this is key, even if the idea they started with gets completely thrown out.
Wow, so the starting point might just be a way in.
Precisely. The really big takeaway here is process first, then the object or the work, and only then does the final idea or meaning really solidify. It completely flips how most people think about creating something.
Okay, so much of traditional learning is about not making mistakes, getting the right answer. This sounds very different. How do art and design schools handle failure? Because this process sounds like it would involve a lot of wrong turns.
That's a really sharp observation. Failure isn't just tolerated, it's often actively cultivated. It's seen as totally necessary for learning. John Hendricks, again, he's very explicit. Students don't learn the point unless they fail first. You need that experience.
Okay.
And Steve DeFrank, the sculptor I mentioned, he takes it to this amazing extreme with his utter failure assignment. The literal goal is to create something that is, in their judgment, an utter failure.
Wait, the goal is to fail?
Yes. And if they accidentally make something beautiful or successful, they failed the assignment. But they still get an A.
That's brilliant. It takes all the pressure off.
It completely reframes it, doesn't it? It destigmatizes mistakes.
But is it just about making bad art? Or is there more to it? How do they make sure these failures are actually, well, productive and not just discouraging?
All right, that's the crucial part. They're called productive failures. And the idea is that they happen early in the process, not right at the deadline. Good professors are skilled at helping students see the potential within what looks like a mistake. Maybe the materials didn't do what you expected, or the outcome is totally different from your intention.
Okay.
Instead of seeing it as a dead end, it's framed as an exciting opportunity, a chance to iterate, to take a new path suggested by the failure itself. It's about spotting the opportunity in the unexpected detour.
You mentioned materials earlier, how they're almost like a partner. Can you expand on that, this dialogue with materials?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Artists and designers often develop this deep connection, almost a love for their materials. Think back to Judith Kruger and her dirt.
Right, making paint from rocks.
Or Jennifer Baker exploring raw milk as a medium, or Ken Botnick and his meticulous paper cutting. It's intense. They talk about engaging in a dialogue. The materials genuinely talk back. They have properties, limitations, possibilities, and they actively guide the process if you listen.
Listen to the materials.
Yeah. It's through that physical, hands-on wrestling match, that back and forth, that surprising ideas often emerge. You learn what the material wants to do, not just what you want it to do.
That raises a question, though. In our super digital age, where do computers fit in? Does using a computer hinder this hands-on iterative thing?
That's a really relevant point. And interestingly, many professors, especially in foundation years, deliberately limit computer use.
Really? Even digital artists?
Yes. Richard Mille, for instance, is a digital artist himself, but he insists his students learn through hand drawing first. Why? Because it encourages embracing, quote, mistakes and things that happen in your hands.
Ah, the happy accidents.
Exactly. Those little imperfections or unexpected marks that can spark innovation. Computers often make things too clean, too perfect, too fast. They can bypass that crucial learning phase. Douglas Dowd talks about this too. He says, the physical activity slows you down. That slowness actually embeds the learning into the making. Whereas the computer could generate a too perfect image too quickly, reinforcing a linear, less interesting approach.
So the friction of the physical process is actually beneficial.
Absolutely. It forces engagement in a different way.
This teaching environment sounds so unique. It's not like lecturing from a textbook. How do professors actually teach something so internal, so fluid as thinking and seeing?
Well, the absolute heart of it is the studio critique, or the crit. This is where the teaching becomes visible. Professors model their own creative thinking process in real time. It's called studio talk.
Studio talk.
Yeah. They'll actually voice their own uncertainty. They use pauses, they use hedges, those little softeners like, I don't know, or maybe, and qualifiers, like for instance, or perhaps if. They're not just giving answers, they're demonstrating how to think through a problem, how to navigate ambiguity.
So they're kind of performing their thought process out loud.
That's a great way to put it, yes. They model the nonlinear, sometimes messy, path towards a solution. And there's another really cool technique called creative animation.
Creative animation, what's that?
Professors will literally speak as if they are the artwork. They attribute thoughts or intentions to the piece itself.
Get out.
Like, Heather Corcoran might look at a student's design and say, the composition of that one is asking for some shift over here, or this color feels like it wants to be dolder.
Wow, they give the artwork agency.
Exactly. It brings the work to life. And it models how the student should listen to the work's desires, engage in that dialogue we talked about, respond to what the piece itself seems to need.
That is fascinating. So what's the ultimate aim of encouraging this dialogue, this animation, this back and forth between the artist and the art?
The big goal is to help students develop critical distance. That means learning to step back, separate themselves from their own creation, and see it objectively, almost as if someone else made it.
Okay, detaching emotionally a bit.
Precisely. Jeffrey Geedy, he's a typeface designer, stresses how vital it is to develop this skill early on, even by the second year, because that distance allows you to move beyond your original intentions, which might be limited or even cliche, and respond instead to what the work is actually doing, what it's revealing on its own terms. It usually leads to stronger, more surprising outcomes. You listen to the work, not just your own initial idea.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for us, for the listeners, in whatever we do, whether it's art or business or science?
I think the core message is that learning to see, think, and make like an artist or designer. It's about much more than just making art objects. It's really about cultivating what some call creative confidence. That means becoming comfortable with ambiguity, being willing to engage with the unexpected, the unknown.
Right, not needing all the answers up front.
Exactly. And it's also about developing the ability to find new problems, interesting questions, hidden possibilities, rather than just efficiently solving the problems already laid out for you. It's a way of approaching the world with more curiosity, more adaptability. Understanding that real innovation often comes from that deliberate, sometimes messy, iterative engagement.
It really does sound like a journey of continuous discovery, not a skill you just acquire and then you're done.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. And this deep dive, I think, really shows that creativity isn't some mystical gift only a few people have. It's not just raw talent. It's a visible practice. It's teachable. And it fundamentally transforms people, making them more resilient, more insightful, more inventive, really, in any field they end up pursuing.
Okay, so to leave our listeners with something to chew on, what's a final provocative thought from all this?
Well, if truly seeing and the creativity that comes from it are skills built by embracing discomfort, by stepping into the unknown, how might intentionally not knowing the final outcome in whatever you're working on actually lead you to far more unexpected and richer discoveries in your own life and work?